Inshallah, we are going to be starting soon. We are trying to confirm the availability and presence of our panelist, Brother Tawheed Adebayo. Please, if you're on the call, kindly say salam to the house. We are trying to wait for your presence. Just help us confirm your presence if you are on the call. Once again, if Sarah Saib can hear me, sir, we want to use this medium to once again to welcome our respected Sarah Saib in person of Brother Abdul Rakib Akinyemi. Kindly say salam to the house, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, my beloved brothers.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan. Respected Sarah Saib has been with us at the AMSA Nigeria AHIC 2024. He has also been with us even before then in a lot of our planning and proceedings. However, inshallah, we are going to start now. I just want to once again confirm that our other panelists can hear me. Whether Oje Abdul Qadir Sahib, kindly confirm if you can hear me clearly.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan. Brother Abdul Rakib Ajao Sahib, kindly confirm. Brother Abdul Rakib Sahib. Brother Abdul Rakib Sahib, can you hear us, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Jazakumullahu khairan. And finally, Brother Muzaffar Ajimati Sahib, kindly confirm audio, please.
I think he sent a message in the group that I should give him 5 minutes.
All right. All right. Jazakumullahu khairan. Okay, once Brother Muzaffar Ajimati Sahib comes back on, we are going to start immediately with a beautiful Quran recitation by Brother Awadi Mubarak.
Assalamu alaikum. If the video is going to make the network bad, because I can see that the video is lagging, we can do it without video, please. Hello, can anybody hear me, please?
Yes, I can. I guess the I guess they're having a bit of issue with network.
Yeah, because I can see the network is really bad and it's not supporting video. They should just
Turn off the video.
make it audio only. This is 11:20 already. We are 20 minutes late already. They can use the Sadar side now, since Sadar is there with them, and they will all be on the same eye table now, so we can hear the voice together.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum to love too.
Wa alaikum salam too, sir.
Okay, maybe I need to check with them. I'm inside the room and we are not together. I think they're inside the mosque. So I will check with them to confirm what the challenge is so that we can resolve. Apologies, please.
We are on, sir. We are on, sir.
Okay, you are good now. Okay, fantastic.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Please, is Brother Muzaffar Ajimati back?
Yes, I'm back.
All right, Jazakumullah khairan.
Apologies for going out.
So, inshallah, we are going to start immediately with an opening recitation, a very beautiful one at that, from Hafiz Mubarak Owade Sahib.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم
السلام عليكم.
نعم. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم را. تلك آيات الكتاب والذي أنزل إليك من ربك الحق ولكن أكثر الناس لا يؤمنون. الله الذي رفع السماوات بغير عمد ترونها ثم استوى على العرش وسخر الشمس والقمر كل يجري لأجل مسمى يدبر الأمر يفصل الآيات لعلكم في لقاء ربكم توقنون وهو الذي مد الأرض وجعل فيها رواسي وأنهارا ومن كل الثمرات جعل فيها زوجين اثنين يغشي الليل النهار إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون وفي الأرض قطع متجاورات وجنات من أعناب وزرع ونخيل وجنات من أعناب وزرع ونخيل صنوان وغير صنوان يسقى بماء واحد ونفضل بعضها على بعض في الأكل إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون وإن تعجب فعجب قولهم أإذا كنا ترابا أإنا لفي خلق جديد أولئك الذين كفروا بربهم وأولئك الأغلال في أعناقهم وأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن. Meaning, in the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Alif Lam Mim. These are the verses of the book, and that which Allah has been revealed to thee from thy Lord is the truth, but most men believe not. Allah is He who raised up the heavens without any pillars that you can see. Then He settled Himself on the throne and pressed the sun and the moon into service. Each pursues its course until an appointed time. He regulates it all. He clearly explains the sign that you may have a firm belief in the meeting with your Lord. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was really beautiful. Jazakumullahu khairan to our respected Hafiz for that beautiful recitation. Inshallah, we're going to move straight to the recitation of the citation of our respected speakers. And I'm going to be starting with Brother Muzaffar Ajimati. He's a very vibrant brother in the Jamaat from Oyo State in Oyo Town. His current residence is in the United Kingdom, and he studied mathematics education for his undergraduate study. Having done that, he proceeded for a postgraduate study in ethical hacking and cyber security. In the Jamaat, he has held different notable and significant roles, which he played his roles diligently, such as his role in the National Ta'lim and Tarbiyah Office of the AMSA Nigeria. He was a former National Ta'lim and Tarbiyah Secretary, AMSA Nigeria, between the years of 2013 to 2015. He was the Naib Mutamin Tajneed in the year 2017 till the year 2020. He was also the Mutamin Tajneed, both Naib Mutamin Tajneed and Mutamin Tajneed of the Majlis Qudam al-Ahmadiyya Nigeria from the year 2020 to the year 2021. And currently, he is the Nazmin Mal, Scotland Region, Ahmadi Muslim Youth Association, UK, as well as the Palmer North Vice President. Please welcome with me, respected brother Muzaffar Ajimati Sahib. Kindly say another salam to the house, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Point of correction, I'm not from Oyo Town, no, I'm from Ibadan.
Apologies for that, please.
No problem.
Bad. Before I proceed to the next panelist, I'd like to make a mention of a very few things which Brother Muzaffar Ajimati, which we would like to know about Brother Muzaffar Ajimati Sahib, such as the things that he loves to do in his free time. One of it is playing video games, which he does. He plays FIFA and Adventure. He also makes use of the popular TikTok social media channel. And he said he used to love sleeping before he got married. Another interesting thing about him is that Brother Muzaffar Ajimati says that he isn't really what people think he is. He is humble, he's a respectful brother who deserves it, and he loves helping people. For those who might have misconceptions about him, you are getting to know him better now. And for those of us that we can learn one or two from his path and his personality, that is for us. Inshallah, I'll be moving straight to Brother Tawheed Adebayo Sahib. We are still awaiting his arrival, and we hope that we are going to hear from him very soon. He currently resides in Montreal, Canada, and he is from Ejigbo, Osun State. He had his undergraduate degree in French between the years of 2016 to 2019. During his undergraduate, he was the best student of his set from the beginning of his study till the end of his study. And he usually was referred to as scholar in the University of Ilorin. I don't know if Ilorin students are here. This is an alumni that you can be very proud of out there. During his period in school, he also got elected as the president of his department of French, during his final year. That is for us to know that education or being academically excellent does not stop you from doing other things. He had his postgraduate study in European literary cultures, Italian linguistics. During his postgraduate He got to learn Italian language and study in France and Italy for the master's degree. He said it also gave him the opportunity to tour Europe. For his scholarships, he had a number of scholarships which he was awarded and he received. In 2019, he was awarded the Best Graduating Student, Department of French, University of Ilorin. In the same 2019, he was awarded Academic Excellence Award by the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria. In 2021, he was awarded a scholarship, a fully funded PhD scholarship to study French and literature at the University of Alabama, USA. And also in 2021, was awarded a fully funded European Union scholarship to study European literary cultures in France and Italy. Brother Tawheed Adebayo loves to play football and also to watch football. And one interesting thing about him is that he was nicknamed French during his undergraduate studies. That is, people used to call him French during his undergraduate studies. I hope our listeners are following the trends about our speakers, what they can learn from that, and what they can relate to in that. If Brother Tawheed is online, once again, please kindly say salam to everyone so we can confirm your presence.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan. We welcome you to our program. All members of AMSA Nigeria, they are very happy to have you all on board. I'm going to move next to Brother Abdul Rakib Adewale Ajao Sahib, who hails from Ibadan in Oyo State. He currently resides in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. He had his undergraduate study in human anatomy between the years of 2015 to 2019. And he graciously graduated with a first class. He had his postgraduate study in computer applications development in the year 2023. And in his postgraduate, his PhD, not master's, or PhD rather, in his postgraduate certificate, not master's or PhD, in his postgraduate certificate, is finished with distinction. He has also held some offices in the Jamaat, such as being the Sanato Tijarat officer of Abuja Ilako, Majlis Qudam Ahmadiyya, between the years of 2021 to 2023. He was the Naib Qaid of Akure Muqam in 2018 to 2019, and he was also the General Secretary of AMSA Futa between 2015 to 2019. His hobbies: he loves coding. He also loves playing video games. And one interesting thing about him, not one, but two actually, is that he doesn't like seeing himself in videos that much. Maybe we might not really get to see him much on video, but maybe we might as well get to see him once or twice, show his face. And the second thing is that he is married. Please join me to welcome Brother Abdul Rakib Adewale Ajao Sahib. Please say salam to the house.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are happy and thank you very much for showing us a video. We are going to move next to Brother Abdul Qadri Adedamola Oje Sahib, who is from Joga Orile, in Ogun State. He currently resides in Abuja. He had his undergraduate studies in telecommunication science between 2013 to 2017. He graduated as the third best graduating student of his department in his undergraduate studies. In his postgraduate studies, he did electrical and electronics engineering between the years of 2020 to 2022. And he also is currently doing telecommunications science, which he started in the year 2024. He has been a beneficiary of different scholarships, such as the NITDA Masters fully funded scholarship in the year 2020. He was a University of Ilorin scholar in the year 2015 and also a University of Ilorin scholar in the year 2014. He held offices in the Jamaat, such as the Education Secretary of AMSA Ilorin from the year 2015 to 2017. He was the Nazimin Atfar of Abuja Ilako between the years of 2020 to 2022, and he is the current Dil'a Qaid of Abuja Dil'a, which he started the role from 2022, and he still holds that position. In his free time, he loves to play Scrabble. He also loves to watch anime. He loves teaching and impact value on people, and he also loves public speaking. An interesting thing about him, I'm very sure most of our viewers and our listeners, they are not going to expect this, what I'm about to say. An interesting thing please say salam to the house, please. Apologies, it seems the host muted everyone. Kindly, let me just have a recap that Brother Oje Sahib, Abdul Qadir Adidamala Oje Sahib, he loves playing Scrabble. He loves to watch anime. He loves to teach and impact value on people. He also loves public speaking. And I mentioned a very wonderful thing, which is an interesting thing about him, which is that he is married to a wonderful wife and blessed with a son and twin girls. But Abdul Qadir Sahib, kindly say salam to everyone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, inshallah, we're going to go straight to business so as not to waste any much of time. I'm going to start with Brother Abdul Qadir Oje Sahib. Please tell us, what do you think is the biggest culture shock that you have heard from people that you know that have traveled abroad? What was the biggest culture shock that you've heard, or maybe you've seen from someone close to you, or maybe you've seen by yourself?
Well, about that, I I wouldn't say it's a culture shock actually. I would refer to it more of a a change in environmental um activity that they are used to, which is closure with neighbors, or should I say, having those who they are close to that they can always go to for relationship sake, like for discussion sake, for being together sake. Assalamu alaikum. Did you get that?
Yes, we picked that. Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. We really appreciate that answer. It was very beautiful. I'm going to kindly like to pass the mic to Brother Abdul Rakib Ajao Sahib. Please, what was the biggest culture shock that you've experienced or you've seen someone else experience since you left Nigeria?
Assalamu alaikum. So
Wa alaikum salam.
for me, there are a couple of them, but the one I found funny the most was when I came into Canada. It was almost during Ramadan, and so it was the AMSA guys organized iftar, and it was like I was invited, like, let's go have iftar at so restaurant, and let's eat. But I didn't know the culture here was like when someone invites you to a dinner or a lunch or anything, you have to pay for yourself. So luckily I went with my card. So we got there, everyone was ordering food. I was expecting it was just going to be like when someone asks you out in Nigeria, when someone says, let's go and eat, definitely someone is going to pay for you. That person is going to pay for you. But here, when you're invited to dinner or lunch or anything, you're just going there to pay for yourself. The person is just saying, let's go and eat. Like, I want to eat, come along, and you have to pay for yourself. So I found that strange because I thought it was uh I was just going to get like a free meal, or not that free, but when we in so back home in AMSA, when we organize iftar, it's always like maybe AMSA is sponsoring the dinner or something. But here I found that very strange, and it was so funny to me. So that was one of the shock. There are a couple of them, but just not to delay time. I think that's what I would like to say for now.
Jazakumullah khairan for that question. Sorry, hope you did not over order your out of pocket.
Luckily, I did not.
Alhamdulillah. So that means it seems AMSA Nigeria is trying. Whenever they
yeah,
call us for iftar,
yeah,
it's always encouraged for us to attend. Jazakumullah khairan. That was a very beautiful one at that. I'm going to move the mic next to Brother Tawheed Adibayo Sahib. Please, what was your biggest culture shock when you arrived in Canada since you've left Nigeria? And I also like to add that you should please try to, I know you have a lot of them also. So if you can give us an answer that can be different from the previous ones, so we can learn better from you, sir.
All right. The first one, let's say the first two ones are from France. So the first time I got to France, I was at the tram station and I was waiting for the tram. And when I got there, I just arrived from Nigeria and I was like, okay, I'm from Nigeria and the bus is never on time, or the train or whatever, you have to go to the park, you have to wait till it's full. But when I got there, I saw that they said the tram will arrive in 1 minute. And I could see the tram arrive exactly at 1 minute. And I was surprised, like, oh, that's interesting. And I wanted to use my old Nigeria time, African time. But I realized that I really have to be on time since that day. And the second one is that after the first Ramadan in France, and it was time for Eid, I was expecting the government to say, okay, just the way you today in Nigeria and Africa, that, okay, next week is going to be Eid and it's public holiday, you don't have to come to school. But I realized that that was not the case. And I even had an exam on Eid day. So I have to first go to do my exam, and then from that, go to the mosque. So I was quite surprised that they didn't give holiday at all. And the last one was when I left France and I went to Italy. And like I said, France was very organized. But when I got to Italy, I realized that Italy was a little bit like Nigeria. The bus was never on time, and then the lecturers were never on time. I realized that, okay, maybe I'm a bit closer to Africa than before. So those are the little stuff I was able to get that was a bit different from where I was coming.
Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. Honestly, like myself, I believe almost all of the listeners are just hearing these for the first time from the first three speakers that have spoken with us. Most of these answers that you have given us, we are just hearing it for the first time. So I believe you are already learning from our panelists there. Jazakumullah khairan once again for that. And I'm going to like to pass the mic to Brother Muzaffar Ajimoti side. Please tell us the biggest culture shock you experienced since leaving Nigeria.
All right, Jazakallah. I think I won't like to pause more because the first one was actually Abdurraqib zone. And for those people that know me, I like food. So I was invited for a party, and thank God it was not even a big restaurant. So it was just a German doner kebab. So it was still affordable. So I ordered for 2 kebabs and drinks and stuff like that. And I was like, "You are the birthday boy, you should pay for us." And the guy was like, "Hell no." I was like, "Guy, what if I don't have money?" So that was the first one. But the major one was, when I started working with my organization. So they were like, oh, there's going to be an infosec, launch party and stuff like that. So my wife wanted to pack food for me that day. I told my wife that, you know what, we're having a lunch party, so I don't need to go to office with food. When I get to the lunch party, they were just serving us. Pringles now, Pringles, this horrible water, sparkling water, still water, all those ipapanu that mean that I'm even hungry. Like it was around 2 p.m. here in the UK then. So that was the second one. Then the third one was in Nigeria, when you go to a shop, you ask for a nylon bag and they give it to you for free. So I remember walking into the store, Lidl, was it Lidl or Tesco? I can't remember. So I packed tomatoes, packed everything. I just picked up the nylon bag, and the guy saw me and he was like, because obviously some Nigerians don't pay actually. So the guy just saw me pick up the bag. I'm like, I'm going to say, did you pay for the bag? I said, do you guys pay for the bag over? He said, yes, you have to pay. It's 30 pence. So this way. And the other one is just the road. We drive from the right side from the UK. God saved me. I was almost hit by a bus because I was expecting the bus to come from the left side, not knowing that the bus was meant to come from the right side. But alhamdulillah, I was saved. So those are the cultural shock that I experienced. Jazakallah.
Alhamdulillah for that experience that you were saved. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But imagine I was called for a lunch and they were serving me Pringles. I wonder what I would have done in that case. Jazakumullah khairan for your beautiful response. Once again, I was just kidding anyway. So I'd like to move the mic right back to Brother Muzaffar Ajimati. Now, you have relocated. You are seeing from the outside perspective, right? So, what would you say is the most common mistake that you've noticed in the trends of Nigerians, most especially young Nigerians, youths and students, in their relocation abroad, especially to developed countries? What would you say is the most common mistake that you've seen that this is the mistake that most people make? And when they arrive over there, they don't seem to get it right. They don't seem to settle that quite easily.
All right. Well, honestly, I can't say there's a particular mistake because I'm a very, very strong believer of destiny. So some people's mistake actually turned out to be success. But I'll just like to say, if you are planning to move outside the country, the very first thing you need to do as an Ahmadi is to try as much as possible to get a reference letter from the Jamaat before you leave. So when you get a reference letter from the Jamaat, if at all you don't have an accommodation, the Jamaat can house you for some weeks or months, depending on their capacity. So many Nigerians, many youth travel down to the UK. That's where I live, without having any plan in terms of accommodation. They just believe, oh, we are going to sort ourselves. There was a time it was really bad that people were sleeping in the school library here in the UK. I know a guy that came to this country without a pound. This guy came to the UK without a pound, and he had to post on Twitter. Fortunately for him, he's actually in the same city that I live. And somebody in a close by city had to call me to say, oh, guy, you are in this city. Can you help this guy? So fortunately, the guy was sleeping in the school library. And in fact, the university of where I live had to send out emails that people should not have their bath inside the toilet because the toilet is not meant for shower. So it was so bad that many people come to this country without, even having a penny just to assist yourself. But alhamdulillah, that guy today is doing fine now. So the first mistake is if you are going to any country outside the shore of Nigeria, try as much as possible to get the contact of the Jamaat. The Jamaat will definitely help your life. When I moved to Scotland, the very first place I stayed was inside the mosque before I got my own apartment. So it's a rare opportunity that non-Ahmadis won't get. And most people in this country, even Nigerians, are not willing to house you. Then the second mistake that most people do is that before you travel, have a long-term plan. Yes, I believe that sometimes when you move into the country, some things might distract you, especially if you are moving with probably you are newly wedded and stuff like that. I'm talking from my own experience because when I moved in when I just got married. And, especially if Allah bless you early, pregnancy and some things like that could actually make you get distracted, from some things. But make sure that you stick to your long-term plan. And most especially, if people advise you to do something or they tell you that, this is what we've been doing, you can't do any other thing. No, you have to try as much as possible to get more information to do other things. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that I have friends that live in Ireland and the UK. And when you come to the UK, people will tell you, oh, this is the only type of job you can do. My brother, if you follow that leg over, you find yourself doing that type of job forever. But if you decide to say, okay, this is what you guys do, okay, fine, I'll do it temporarily and I'll find something I love to do. And eventually you guys will do it. So I'll stop there so that other speakers can say something.
That was indeed insightful. That was insightful. Really insightful. Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. It's starting to get serious here. It's not a usual business of the entertaining part. And I want to believe that our listeners, they are jotting a lot of things because we're going to give a very limited time for questions so as to manage our time and also ensure that we are prepared for Juma. So please, kindly note down your questions now and make them brief. Inshallah, I'm going to pass the mic straight to Brother Tawheed Adebayo Sahib. Please kindly shed more light to that particular question. What do you feel are the biggest, almost common mistakes that Nigerians make, or maybe Africans too, of other countries, or focus on Nigerians and most especially the youth and the students make when they want to come to developed countries?
So I think the first mistake is the loss of values when we arrive abroad, when we leave Nigeria. So for example, like what Brother Muzaffar just said, it's very important to remain attached to the Jamaat, and I'm quite a good example of that. Before leaving Nigeria, a missionary in Ilorin, the Molvi, he already contacted someone in France to inform them that, okay, I have a boy here that's coming to France, and even shared my contact with them. And by the time I got there, they're even the one that contacted me, that we receive your message, they said you are coming, and then you can come to the mosque. If you can come to the mosque, we send someone to pick you. So from there, I got in touch with the Jamaat in France. And the same thing when I left France or Italy. So I get in touch with the Jamaat. I had to ride a bicycle for about 2 hours, but I got there. It was really interesting. And the last part as well, when I was leaving Italy to Canada, so I had to get the Amir of Italy to write a letter for me before I could come to Canada. And that with that, I don't need to introduce myself again because they already have the letter. And that really helped. Instead of just coming abroad and just try to work, and forget about our religion, forget about our values we had already back home. It's very important that Ahmadi Muslims try to remain attached with Jamaat, and we could easily live a blessed life and integrate easily, because the people we are going to meet in Jamaat, where we are going, they have already been living there for quite a lot of time, and they will be quite able to guide us, and we won't have to make the same mistake they already made back then, or we won't have to struggle the way they did. And it really makes life easy for us here. So I think the first mistake to avoid is just to avoid getting isolated, just trying only to work, only to go to school. Try to connect to people who share the same value as you. Of course, you're going to meet different people abroad. You're going to meet colleagues in school, at work, but try to filter them. Make sure you stay only with people that share the same value as you. Muslim, maybe even Christian or other religions, but as long as they don't incite you to do bad stuff, it's better to have them than to have those that will incite you to do stuff that you are going to regret later. So I think that's what we should really try to avoid when we move abroad.
Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. I hope if we have a brother right there listening to this, either live or on the Zoom call, and is having plans to quote and unquote japa and cut off all ties with the Jamaat, I hope that brother is listening to this right now, because the Jamaat is not just a community of support, but a network of a strong social network that can serve as a relief for us anywhere we go in the world. Jazakumullah khairan for that once again. I'm going to pass the mic to brother Abdul Qadir Sahib to please shed more light for us on that. Brother Abdul Qadir Sahib, you are here in Nigeria. You are going to see things from a different perspective, but not just a different perspective like others that we are in Nigeria here as students, but as a more experienced person. What do you think is a trend of mistakes of people that quote and unquote japa from Nigeria?
All right. So just as Bram Zafar had said, as well as Ratafid, one I would not say completely unfortunate thing, but it's rather unfortunate, is that a lot of people do not plan. And that's a problem on its own. It's more of a way to start failing before you even go over there. And just as Zafar had said, that challenge is sacrosanct. It's about you knowing what you want to go and do over there. If your plan is to just go, then when you get there, you just be there. And you won't be achieving, you won't be an high achiever. However, if you plan properly, you'd not have that challenge. I've had cases of people who go and then they come back. Why? Because they plan poorly. They're not ready for the kind of life that they live over there. Some of the kind of life is what you heard from the culture shock. They don't know what to expect. They've not even asked questions about what life is like over there. And then they get there, they get depressed, their mental health gets unstable, and then they can't push forward. And then they have to just back pada. And a number of times, it's not even easy for them to come back because they are there, but no flight tickets fit to come back. So they're just hanging around and trying to be alive.
جزاكم الله خيرا. جزاكم الله خيرا. جزاكم الله خيرا. If you try to just go, you're going to get there to just prepare. Please note that down. Brother Abdul Qadri Adidamola Oje, 2024. If you plan to just go, you're going to get there to just prepare. Please plan very well before you leave. I'd like to move on to Brother Abdurraqib Adewale Ajao Sahib. He is in Canada, in the North America. Please kindly shed more light to this question for us. A lot of brothers are here at the AHIC and on the call willing to japa, but they have little to no information on it. And your insights on this will give them a lot of guidance. Please, let's have you. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. So the first thing I would say is I would just speak lightly on it. Getting a letter from the Jamaat and connecting with Jamaat will help you a lot. That is like very important, and I also got benefit of the Jamaat. But one thing that I think that is from the onset is number one, failing to plan, as we have gotten mentioned, but it is the expected reality, right? We leave Nigeria with so much high hopes without thinking of the other side of things, how things can get difficult. And when you come to a place where you have high expectations and you don't get the expectations, it leads to disappointment. And that disappointment will lead to like depression, like Rabkari said. So that is what happens. When you are leaving Nigeria, you are going to another man's country. Even though things there is more economic advantage here, you're going to another man's land. So you don't expect things to become rosy initially. Everyone, no matter whether you are rich or poor, would always have challenges whenever you go to a new country. By the time money might not be a challenge, but most of the time, most of people, since we are living from Nigeria to European countries, it's usually money, right? Those who have money, they do not leave Nigeria like that. So when you come into this country, you have to expect like the unexpected, right? When you're going with that tough mindset that I know things will be rough, I know I might not get a job, I might not blend in quickly and stuff, you're already prepared mentally. So when you get there, when those things happen, you're able to absorb it in and then find your way around. So I think that is like the first important thing. You need to go there, whether you're going as a student or you're going as a worker, there's always that challenge you have to face. And when you already know that you're expecting to face the challenge, even though you're going to an advanced country, you are mentally prepared to face anything. And another thing is, just like what Cody said, planning. Most people would go to other countries, right? I think the most common path is going as a student. But when you get there, you do not think about, okay, how do I transition from a student? If your goal is to stay there permanently, not permanently like live there for the rest of your life, but at least you want to stay more to earn more, or you want to just live there for a while, maybe 10 years thereabouts. You have to plan, okay, after I graduate as a student, what is my plan? What do I do next? What do I do that? Except you are moving as a permanent residence, or you're going as someone who is going for long. You have to plan that too before you leave. Not that when you get here, you finish school, you're not looking at what do I do. You're in the UK, you're looking for sponsorship, you're in Canada, you're looking for permanent residence, and you don't know what to do. And then you are lost, and that's what push people to so many things that they do not want to do. Right. So I think those are the two major things. You need to prepare your mindset that you're going to face challenges, whether you have money or not. And then if your intention is to stay, have a plan on how to transition from whatever route you are going there to. So those two things, if you're able to plan properly and also pray, because I mean, you might have a plan and things will not work out as the same. Policy might change, Once you get there, that is life, right? That is why you have to pray too as well. That mental health should help you. But once you go there with a prepared mindset, you would always face challenges. I don't know. I have not seen anyone who has left their home country and go to another one's country who has not faced one challenge or the other. So I think that is my own advice.
Jazakumullah khairan for that. Expect the unexpected. And as well, pray. Well noted. For those of us that we believe we are Pep Guardiola, we are the master tactician. We have planned everything out perfectly. Please make sure that you put it in prayers. And as well, make sure your planning covers your post-school days. That is, when you finish school, what are you preparing for ahead of that? Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan to Brother Abdul Rakib Ajau Sahib. I would like to move to Brother Tawheed Adebayo to give us an insight on a very beautiful question. We want these answers from two perspectives. One, from the perspective of our speakers who are already out there, and two, which is also very equally important too, from the perspective of an experienced scholar who is here. Brother Tawheed side, please, aside traveling abroad and all, we know we are all about Japa, still under the same scope of topic. What advantage for career or personal development do you think that is present here in Nigeria, but is not very much out there, particularly maybe not very much out there for Nigerians, but you feel that there is an opportunity or an advantage that is in Nigeria that some of our students and youths need to pay close attention to, and maybe we have not started doing that? Most especially for those that want to jackpot to, maybe a particular opportunity that they need to pay close attention to before they do that.
Well, it's quite an interesting question. I think it will be a bit difficult to generalize, but I think what I could say about, let's say maybe all field, that especially for Nigerians going abroad, is that it's better to go abroad and get the expertise, like be very good in your field, and come back to Nigeria to use it if the person is willing to go back to Nigeria. I think that because we might not have a large number of experts in the field in Nigeria who are trained abroad. And even if you have them, like I said, not so many. But if you are able to go abroad to learn the stuff the way they do it, and then you come back to your country to apply it, I think that will be a very good stuff for people in Nigeria. And it will allow the person to have a very good career in Nigeria because the person will be exceptional compared to his peers in Nigeria. Of course, it doesn't apply to all the fields, but I think most of the fields we could have it that way. And if the person is not willing to go back to Nigeria, the person has to use at least the knowledge they already have from Nigeria and apply it to the job or to the organization they want to work with abroad. So let's say, for example, someone in my field, French, for example. So as a French graduate in Nigeria, it's quite difficult to have any other career path other than teaching, for example, in Nigeria. And the teaching is not quite, if you have the passion for teaching, fine. But if you are talking about salary aspect and then how lucrative it is, it's quite difficult to make a living in Nigeria as a French teacher. However, if you live abroad here as a French graduate, because you don't only study French language, you also study literature, we have so many paths open to you, so many doors that you can open and explore. So as a French graduate, I would say it's better to come abroad here as a French graduate in Nigeria, to live your life, to study further, to have a PhD and start a career. And then later, if the person decides to go to Nigeria, it will the person will be different from others who just had maybe the undergraduate, masters, and PhD in Nigeria, because he has been abroad. He had the opportunity to have access to all the resources that are quite difficult to have in Nigeria. And when the person is back, he'll be able to impact more knowledge into maybe the students or into the place of work in Nigeria than abroad. So when the person comes back to Nigeria, the person could be a translator or anything they decide to be, but not only a French teacher if they have stayed in Nigeria. So I think that's what we could explore. And again, it depends on the field, and it's quite personal as well. First, if the person is willing to come back to Nigeria, and if the field doesn't have a bright future in Nigeria. So maybe I believe you can't say the same for maybe for doctors, because they have opportunities. But for someone in the arts, in languages like me, it's better to first go abroad, study, have a career, and then decide to come back to Nigeria. Maybe if you already have a PhD, you come back, and then you'll be able to share your knowledge, to imbue more into people in Nigeria than just staying in Nigeria and not going abroad. So that's what I think about it.
Jazakumullah khairan for that. You can notice it is very easy to notice a similar pattern in the trend of the words of wise men. Just this morning, almost the exact thing that was being explained to us by our panelists. I think Sarah Saib mentioned a case of somebody like that, who is in Nigeria with a degree in English and teaches people, I think in the UK, yes, in the UK, who is also being paid weekly. We can see that there's a very strong connection between those two talks. For those of us that are in the AHIC presently, we can note that down for future reference. But Muzaffar Sahib, please kindly shed more light to that question for us. What advantage do you believe or opportunity we need to take more hold of as Ahmadi students and youth?
All right, Jazakumullah khairan. Before I go into my explanation, because I can see we are going towards the end of the program. So this question is very, very important, and I would like to explain it very well for the listeners. To start with, the previous speaker said something. You see, I am a firm believer of if you want to succeed in this life, the only person that can help you, there are three people that can help you to succeed in this life: Allah, you yourself, and the people you move along with. If you notice these people that do Yahoo Yahoo boys and all these things, if you check their ecosystem, they help themselves. You get what I'm trying to say? So the same thing can be applicable to any field of life. If you want to become a software engineer, you want to become a cybersecurity engineer, you have to move along with people that do all those things in order for you to achieve your goal. But that's not where I'm going to. So yes, it's so unfortunate that we are all from a country whereby everything in that country is the same thing we have in this country, in the UK or any other places. So I'll be coming from the business role perspective. There's no business role here in the UK that we don't have in Nigeria. So I'm from the student side and graduate side. The only place where we are lacking is just that it's so unfortunate that most of these private, though the private organizations are still trying, but most of these private organizations, in terms of the chances they give to the graduates, when you compare it to the quota of the students Tajnid and the graduate Tajnid that we have in Nigeria, it's small. I could remember when I joined Union Bank, according to the HR guys, over 65,000 candidates applied for a 65 opportunity. Like out of 65,000 people that applied for the graduate role, I was lucky to be part of the 66 people that made it to the training school. So just imagine if 65,000 graduates applies for a role and you want to take just 66 once a year, then you are not really helping the society. So one of the opportunities there is just that if you look at people that, they were born in this country, if you are growing up, you have two options. Either you decide to go to school or you decide not to go to school. You can work in big organizations without having a degree here. So there is something they call the apprenticeship program. I don't know if that type of program exists in Nigeria. So let's say, for example, now that we have apprenticeship program in Nigeria, people can go into, corporate world of life and, do things normally and they'll gain experience. The only caveat to that route is just that somebody with a degree will always get promotion, but you will remain what's it called? On that level forever, except you decide to go and get a degree. And another thing I would like to say again is just that uh, it's so unfortunate again that the country we are all from, there is a plan. It's just unfortunate that the government just decide not to, not to follow the plan, or maybe the people. Mr. Tawid said something about when you come to the country and go back to Nigeria to add value. Yes, the government have that in place. All these state fund that the AMSA guys get, and state fund, all these scholarships, all these Commonwealth scholarship. The purpose of all those scholarship is that come to this country, have a good exposure, learn, and go back to your country to go and apply that thing. So, but it's so unfortunate that only few people are being given the opportunity to do that. And I can tell you that most people that even come here to do all those things, they don't even have the plan to go back home. Imagine your country send you to a country to learn and come back to the country to implement all those things. And that's the reason why the Commonwealth law is that if you're a Commonwealth scholar, you can't return back to the UK until 3 years after, because the purpose of them, sponsoring you to come to this country to learn is that learn from us, go back to your country and add value to it. So in terms of opportunities, it's just so unfortunate. There are plans already based on the country. There are plans already, but it's just so unfortunate that people, only few people know about those opportunities. So back to your question, there are opportunities in Nigeria and there are opportunities outside Nigeria. The only difference is just that, just like what Abdurraqib said, if you come to somebody's country, it can be rosy for you. Even me, with my experience before moving into this country, I was in the job market for 9 months before I could get what I do today. So just for you to know that it's not rosy. And I said something that I'm a firm believer of destiny. I know people that came into this country without experience and they got a corporate job even before me that have experience. So again, there are opportunities in this country outside the shore of Nigeria, and there are opportunities in Nigeria as well. So you just need to know how to find those opportunities. Jazakallah.
Jazakumullah khairan for that beautiful response. If you are coming to another man's land, it's never going to be rosy. That is, roses are not always going to be red at first, but you have to find your feet. And as well, there are opportunities in Nigeria. So please, brothers, let us not just sit down and wait to japa before we make use of those opportunities. Now, I would like to move the mic to Brother Abdul Qadir Sahib. Please give us more insights to this question. Jazakumullah khair.
So sorry, I would like to have the question again.
All right, sir. The question is that for youth and students, Nigerians, that, okay, let's put traveling abroad aside first. Before we travel abroad, are there certain opportunities or some set of advantages that you feel that they are there in Nigeria and we need to make use of them, as like we need to take a stronger hold of those opportunities or advantages? Most especially for those that want to japa, are there those advantages that they need to make use of them right now before they leave to give them
Oh,
a better edge?
okay, okay. All right. So I'd like to start with my co-panelists or brothers on the panel as well. Brother Abrokim Ajao happened to have learned what he does now while he was in Nigeria. He took hold of the opportunities of COVID, especially during his service year, to learn. He maximized that period, and here he is today. He got the opportunity to go and use that skill over there, and is there. Bra Tahid as well. He was a wonderful person with his academics here. He maximized the opportunities around being a scholar, and there he is, as well as my Egbon, Bra Muzaffar. He learned basically most of the skills he's displaying as a cybersecurity expert while he was here. So the opportunities are there. The avenue to put your skills to test are there. I'll give example of the recently in. I'm sorry to keep making examples to tech anyway. The Majlis Kudam Ahmadiyya Nigeria happen to have a group of tech guys, the developers, who from their learning, their individual learning, were able to get in to the team, and then they get assigned tasks. Here, they're able to build like real life scenario of working on a team, real life scenario of working in a simulated work environment, sort of, which is actually a real work environment if you look at it, because they're building real products that are used by Majlis Kudam Ahmadiyya Nigeria. So these are among other opportunities, just like the Commonwealth Scholarship mentioned by Bram Muzaffar, Text Fund, and a host of others. I would make reference to our Hausa brothers as well, like Bram Muzaffar did. These guys do not believe in living in another man's country. They prefer to stay in Nigeria and build Nigeria. And there are a lot of tech projects. There are a lot of tech projects I mean startups now that are funded by NITDA currently. And if you check the bulk of these guys in those startups or accelerator programs, they are the northern guys. They've gone to learn, they learn within, and they are making maximum use of the opportunity here. They have groups where they interact. So when an opportunity shows up, they've all sent it to each other. Let's apply for this thing, let's apply for this thing. And they will meet themselves at the startup program. They meet themselves at the accelerator program. They interact like they've been together for long. And that is how opportunity works. That is how building relationship works. So in the end, it's not really about going there alone. It's about what you have to offer. Now, if you are going, you'd be asked of your experiences. You'd be asked of what you can do with your hands. And if you don't have these requisite skills, it's as though you're going there to waste away. You can, okay, painting some mental pictures here, which I believe my brothers who are in the diaspora can relate to, is the fact that when you get there, you really do not have the time to start learning new skills. You really do not have that luxury of time to acquire new skills. You can polish up old skills, you can brush up what you have, but starting afresh is quite difficult because you're trying to make ends meet while learning. And in the end, it may not be that easy as you might have thought. So it still goes back to the planning if you want to go, acquiring requisite skills before you go. And if you Nigeria is a land of opportunity. There are a lot of problems. It's still a developing country, honestly. Unlike the UK, well, it's not entirely that they don't have problems in the UK, but and among other countries, it's not like they don't have those problems or they don't have problems that can be solved. But here in Nigeria, there are problems everywhere. Like we are still developing. So you can easily tap into various areas. There is the area of um what's it called? Recycling. We have very few recycling plants in Nigeria. We have very few collaborators who do recycling or even converting the recycled product, the plastic into other products. Say, for example, you convert plastics that have been recycled bottles into table, into slabs for kitchen accessories, and among other things. It can be converted into this. So we really do not have much of those in Nigeria. Getting a partnership with a company outside Nigeria, probably as a result of you going there and coming back with that investment, is a lot. So identifying these gaps is also very essential. Identifying the gaps we have in the country, going out there to get the requisite connection as well as skills to come and solve them is also a way to go. So it's not only about going and staying there permanently, but knowing what you want and seeing where the opportunities are to explore them better. Sorry.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakumullah khairan for that. That was really, really, really insightful. That was insightful. I never knew that if I japa, you were still going to refer me back to what I'm bringing for my country. I thought everything is already out there. I'm just going out there to get it. But the truth of the matter, as from what we've learned from our panelists, is that you have to take something, not something that is visible, something that is immaterial. Your skill set is very important. Without wasting much of our time, I'm very sure that our brothers listening at the AHIC and on the call, they are all going to have wonderful questions. Please, and please, once again, please let's try to make our questions as brief as possible because of Jumat and also for our panelists. I'd like to go very, very fast to Brother Abdul Rakib Ajao Sahib. Please, any last words, anything random or very specific that you have for those listening to you that are willing to jackpot and they've not done that yet, or those that are just done that, or maybe some that want to just learn more that have done that quite some time before. Any last words for us, please?
Yeah, a couple of them. So my own, from my own, based on my experience, what I would say is if you're planning to japa, first is you need to look at a couple of things. The first thing is your family, right? You need to know family is very important. Once you get out there, that is when you know how much more importance your family is. It can be very difficult. So when you're trying to travel out, I think you should go out the right way so that you can easily go back home, recharge, spend some time with the family, and you're able to come back. If you leave the country the wrong way, it's very difficult for you to go back home, as it will be very difficult for you to get back into the country you are getting into. Another thing is whatever means you're using to go out, you should consider it critically. Some people are married. Do you want to go alone or do you want to go with your family? Going with your family and going alone has its perks and disadvantages. I think you would want to weigh out those options too and see which of them favors you. And lastly, I think I said it before, going out with you should not have high expectations when you're going out so that you don't get depressed when you're there. You should expect things to be rough as it is in Nigeria because it's always greener on the other side. But when you get there, that's when you realize things are not so rosy as you think they are. Not as if I'm discouraging, but I think it's a very good opportunity for whoever wants to travel out should travel out because you see more opportunities And you see the way people do things differently from the way you do things back home. There are some things that have been done in Nigeria that are more perfect than the way you do it outside there, and there are other things that are good here that we can easily emulate in Nigeria. So I think it's if you have the chance, some people are like always pro Japa and some people are anti Japa. So I think you should always be middle ground. If you have the chance to go out, you can go out, explore, and see the way things are done out there. So, and finally, I think what is important is whatever you do, I think it's important to do pray to Almighty Allah, probably doing istikhara and writing to Uzur, because I don't know, depends. A place might work out for you and a place might not work out for you. So it's always important to pray so that Almighty Allah should guide you to whatever would favor you. You might think Nigeria might not favor you and the other country will favor you while it is not. So it's important to pray and that Almighty Allah should guide you. So if all that are in place, I think inshallah everything would work out as you wish or better than you wish, inshallah. Yes. So that's all I have to say.
جزاكم الله خيرا. جزاكم الله خيرا for that. That was very insightful. Please, Brother Muzaffar Ajimati Sahib, kindly give us your last words before we entertain questions.
All right. This will be the last word for this program, not the last word for AMSA. All right. So, yeah, to be candid, my last advice is that to answer the same question, does Japa worth it? Yes, 100%, it does. But you need to Japa with sense if you want to do that. And I believe that most people listening to me right now are students. One of the easiest way to enter countries outside Nigeria is through the student route. But the most better way to enter is through a worker or through a work visa. But if you plan to go to, for example, Canada, the best route could be PR. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that as a student, you have that opportunity. I'll give you a live scenario. In 2022, I was placed on AWS waiting list for offer. Unfortunately, the offer didn't come because of the tech layoff and the recession and stuff like that. But I learned something. In as much as the offer pained me, I was looking for information and I want everybody to learn from this. And that's why I said, if you want something, you need to find a way to get people that actually want the same thing. So when I was looking for info, I went to Reddit, went to a lot of social media platforms. Then in my research, I stumbled upon a app called Blind. So fortunately, Blind is an app that people that work in top organizations in the world, GAFA, Google, Amazon, Netflix, Facebook, that's where they go. And it's an anonymous social media whereby they can rant, they can vent, they can vex their anger, they can they can vent out and do all sort of stuff. So I met a lot of people there, and from there I moved into a Discord server. So unfortunately, the only people I met were people from the US. So how do I get people in Europe in my own same situation? Then I created a Discord server and I started reaching out to people on Reddit, Blind App and stuff. And before you know it, we are over 100 in that group. But where I'm going is that I met a Nigerian girl. She's a Unilag student. She came to the UK to do her 6-month IT program. This girl came to the UK on a visa route that I don't even have any knowledge about. But when I met this lady through the group, she came to the UK for her IT. She studied electrical engineering and something like that, but she knows how to code. So this girl was sponsored temporarily by Amazon. She came to Edinburgh here in Scotland, worked for 6 months. They paid for her flight ticket, they paid for her accommodation, and She was even earning much more than me as at that time. She was earning around that £2,600, and she's single. So after 6 months, they offered her a return offer. So this girl, I was even chatting with her 2 months ago. I was like, "Are you not going to service here?" He said no, that he's not planning to go for NYSC. So this girl has returned back to the UK. She's currently in Cambridge. So the purpose of this story is just to tell you that you can look beyond the shore of Nigeria if you are looking for IT. And when I asked this lady, she told you about her story. Somebody told her, just like I'm telling you guys. And she started applying. She applied to Amazon in Dublin. She applied to Amazon in, many European countries, UK. And from there, she was able to get an interview and she got the 6 month internship program. Then after the internship program, they've sponsored her. She's here in the UK. That's just one route to move outside Nigeria. So what I'm trying to say in not extent is that move around with people that you want to become. For example, a few months ago, I think it was last year, I created a group for AWS cloud support, which is for graduates. And I added some Amadi members to it. It is only one person that even made that effort to apply for that role. So if you don't know, Amazon AWS is in Nigeria, is in Lagos, but they don't really have much opportunity in Lagos, but they have a lot of opportunity in South Africa. So if you're a graduate of computer science or any engineering background or telecommunication or info communication or mathematics or physics, you can try out all these things. And if you need help with the interview prep, I'm always available to help you. So if you go through this route, and let's say, for example, you find yourself in a country, maybe in Europe or in US, or you find yourself in maybe, let's even say South Africa. If you do 2 years in South Africa, you can, take an intra transfer to any country of your choice. I came to know about AWS when I started in 2019 when I moved into cloud. So I saw this guy, he's not Mr. Tender. He's a senior cloud engineer. I think he has moved to solutions architect now. This guy was a graduate support engineer for AWS in South Africa. And now he's in the UK as a solution architect. So if I keep on telling you the people uh, spied upon on LinkedIn and stuff like that, these are people that motivate me to want more. And alhamdulillah, at least where I work today, I'm happy there. So I want especially AMSA to do well, because when we do well, we will be able to help the Jamaat at general. See, we are saying something at the last tema of Kodam over here that even most of us here in the UK, yes, I know everybody's still trying to find their feet. We'll come to the conclusion that there's nobody that is going to, with the situation of Nigeria, there's nobody that is going to help the Nigeria Jamaat except people outside. Yeah, people in-house too would also help. But it would be much more easier if everybody outside the country come together to help the Jamaat. It will go a long way. So just imagine you listening to me this time next year, you're already earning, hard currency, whether in Nigeria or outside Nigeria. You will always add more to the Jamaat. It's not as if you had to maybe UK, Canada, but I won't lie for you. These people, the Jamaat here is already sorted. In fact, they won't even disturb you for chanda. They will only remind you, Assalamu alaikum, can you please pay your chanda? After that one reminder, they won't disturb you again. You get what I'm trying to say? So just for you to know that the Jamaat here, yes, your contribution will also, mean something. But in terms of, say these Jamaat don't settle, they are much more settled than the Jamaat in Nigeria. And this is our home. Do you get what I'm saying? This is our home. So come here, earn more skills and get connected with us. If you find yourself in the UK, there's no way you get to know me, you get to know other people. So that is just what I have as a last advice for everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Jazakumullah khairan. In fact, I don't even know what adjective to describe it. That was literally a bro to bro conversation. When they ask you bro to bro Jackpot edition, Those on Twitter, they will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, I'd like to move the mic to Brother Adebayo Sahib. Please, what are your final words for us?
So I would like to say for those who are willing to japa, you should first research, prepare, and then pray. For those who are still in school, and whether you want to japa or not, make sure you graduate with good grades. So because they are not only useful if you want to go abroad, they will also be useful in any way later after the school. And if you are willing to japa, make sure you connect to people that already did what you did. So I know more about the scholarship route than the work route. But if you want to get a scholarship, you don't have to wait till you are done with your studies. You could actually start already, make your research about the university you want to go, the country you want to go. You have to already decide where you want to go. And also, it's not a one size fits all. So you may decide you may be willing to go to Canada, but you won't get any scholarship to Canada. Try US first. Maybe after getting to US, you now move to Canada. And if you are still in school, you can already contact those who finished from your school that you know that got scholarship. Then we know better how to guide you about getting documents from your university, maybe transcript or get reference letter from your lecturers. And if there is no one from your school, we have social network with you. Check Twitter. So there are many Nigerians that post about scholarship. So you follow them. And until I wanted to apply for my scholarship, I didn't know there was like a Twitter for academic, a Twitter for scholarship. So you have those social network. Also, you have a LinkedIn with you. Have no one from Nigeria, you can already email the student that already university want to go. You can find the name on his university's website. You can email them directly on LinkedIn. So I contacted so many people back then who were willing to review my motivation letter, my CV, people that up to now I have never met in real life, but they were willing to help me back then. So there are many good people outside there. They are ready to help you. So don't limit yourself only to the people you have around you in Nigeria and the people you can reach. So make sure you contact everybody, try your best, and prepare yourself when you get a scholarship, when you're about to leave. Also pray a lot. So that's my final advice for everyone.
Jazakumullah khairan for that. Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan for that once again. So without wasting much of our time, before we move to, we have just one question. Thankfully, we have just one question.
Please, before the question, give me 1 minute, please.
All right, sir.
I could see some people here who I know that they finished from Code Learners Hub. So particularly, I've, I don't know, for some reason, like I said, in one of the things that I think people, feel about me is I'm easily accessible. Even recently, somebody I met on TikTok in the UK here, because I got more close to that person, the person even abused me to say I'm too available and accessible. So, but it's so painful when, people who actually should move more closer to you. Probably maybe I should be the one to make the move. But what I'm trying to say is I've noticed that most guys that go to Code Learners Hub, they are doing well from what I can see on LinkedIn. You guys are young. I know a route for you guys to come to the UK. There are two routes. You can come either being sponsored or you can sponsor yourself. Yes, the second one is an expensive route. I'm sure every one of you that worked with Code Learners Hub, you guys push to your public repository every day and you guys contribute to open source projects. See, there's a route called the Global Talent Visa. If you apply for the promising talent or probably exceptional talent, I'm very sure you guys have those requirements. The only thing that you can find to be a challenge is to get a letter of recommendation for somebody that works in maybe Paystack or probably, and I've seen people message the owner of Paystack Flutter with, asking for recommendation and they give to them. So apart from that, you guys push your code to, public space and you guys work with Kudam. Kudam is a volunteering this thing. You guys go to events and take pictures. You guys have won lots of prizes. Those are the things, those are the evidences you can put together. That's not my field actually, but I have an Amadi brother. Fortunately, he was the former AMSA president for AMSA Lagos Unilag. That is the route he is currently in the UK. He knows everything about that route. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll help you for free. So that's just the additional thing I want to add. No, stop. Jazakallah.
Jazakumullah khairan for that. I'd like to move straight to Brother Abdul Qadri Oje Sahib. But before that, very quickly, I would like to make a very quick request from our panelists to just help us type your social media handles where we can reach you through social media. Whoever needs Brother Muzaffar's number also can get it through the AMSA channel very easily. Just ask.
No, I'll drop my number. I'll drop my
all right,
WhatsApp number.
As well, you can also drop other social media platforms where we can always follow you on other social media as you make your posts, your interactions, and can learn from you. Please, without wasting much time, Brother Abdul Qadri or Sahib.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
So I don't have much to say. My last words is just plan. It's just about planning. I've seen so much of why planning is essential, and that's just going to be my last word. If you're going to Japa, plan exhaustively. Don't go there and go and start doing like a lost or stray cat. Find yourself to blame if that happens to you. Sorry.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This question, we have just one question actually to round it up before we go on our closing prayer by Sadar Sahib. This question is directed to Brother Abdul Raqib Ajau Sahib. And the person says that for someone that is already studying, and the person wants to actually relocate, what would you advise him or her to do? Either the person stops this plan until he graduates or continue pushing for it while being an undergraduate. And the second question is a very brief question. It's like more like a yes or no question. That can library and information students also, are there opportunities for them to travel out?
Yeah, assalamualaikum. For the first question, I think from my own perspective, I think it is important you have a degree before leaving the country, because not just degree but skill as well. But in terms of degree, degree will give you opportunities than coming alone without a degree. So, for example, you can come in, if you have a degree, you have the opportunity to apply for scholarships. And also when applying for jobs at times, and they need to sort of make some cutoff and just cut off some people, even though it is not needed, degree is usually used for these things. And another thing is having a degree shows you've been in an official environment and you know how official things are done. So it's important if you have a degree. I think it's nice to just finish degree before coming over, except you're coming over here to come another to start on another degree. Then I think that it's also a good choice. So it depends on you. There are so many factors that surround that, but just on a high level, I think having a degree before leaving your home country is one of the things that is that will help you a lot when you move out of the country. For the second question, I believe there for library and information studies. Yeah, I think yes, there's no one who does not have opportunity in this country, though it might be difficult, might be not as the opportunities might not be as much as other fields. But yeah, I think if you search deep further and try to find a niche, you have to focus on one niche, not just I don't know the fields in library and information studies, but you need to look deep down for them, see one particular niche and try to look for opportunity in that field. Or you can easily change your field. So for example, I studied human anatomy, and here I came to this country as a software developer. So you can always there's opportunities for you to just change your fields and go for it. So that's my answer to the questions.
All right, Jazakumullah khairan. We appreciate all our panelists, and we pray that Allah continue to exalt you and elevate you in your respective places. Please want to use this medium to hand the mic over to our respected Sadar Sahib, Mr. Abdurraqib Akimbola, for a very Akinyemi apologies, for a very brief closing remark and closing prayer.
All right. Assalamu ta'ala alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. I don't know the respected moderator will be asking for a closing remark. I was thinking it's only prayer. So, but since he has added the remark, maybe I need to make a few comments. First, let me thank the AMSA leadership and members entirely for this beautiful session we had. And of course, the wonderful panelists, 3 of them outside the country, but of course, originally Nigerians. And our brother, who is the first of the panelists, Brother Abdul Qadri, who is presently in Nigeria. Only Allah knows what happens tomorrow. Because when I listened to the way Brother Isa Ahmad was talking about Japa, it was not even. My expectation was that when I saw the flyer, my expectation is it's going to be a kind of debate form. Say, is Japa really worth it? For us to actually dissect through the lens of looking at the weaknesses within Nigeria and outside, and the strength within Nigeria and outside in respect to Japa. So that was what I was actually looking forward to. However, the session, the way it has gone, was really insightful, informative. And then I sincerely appreciate the comment of 2 of our brothers who noted when started, I think Brother Musafar and if I'm not mistaken, I think Brother Abdurraqib are saying that it's very important that we do not disconnect from the Jamaat wherever we're going, in any part of the world. I recall when respected Amir was addressing the members of the Jamaat during the Justice Salana, when it was declaring Justice Salana 2023 open, part of what he mentioned was that the Jamaat Nigeria is open to assisting anyone who may want to travel any part of the world and to get a kind of letter to introduce you to the country you aspire to go. So this is very important. Even at a time when I was not even appointed as Zila Koid, I was just a khadim as normal as it should be. In 2015, I think that was the first time I attempted traveling abroad. And at that time, I applied to a school in Canada. I think that's Regina University. Part of the things I checked that time was to look for our mosque, close to the university. And I saw that in 2016, when I started the process, I saw the internet that in 2015, Beloved Uzur Aziz opened or commissioned our mosque or inaugurated our mosque in Regina, which at that time, from what I checked, was just, if it has not changed anyway, is just 35 minutes drive from the university that I aspired to go that time. So, it's not about because I'm sad that I'm advising this. That time I was not even a dealer coed. So, but by virtue of training we've had, we must not in any form disconnect with the Jamaat. So that time I was looking out to see a mosque or any location of the Jamaat close to the university I aspire to go. So this is very important. I think this is a very important part. But Adebayo also said that I forgot to mention that I got a recommendation letter from MCAN for an internship application. Oh, that's great. So of course, so many brothers who have traveled abroad, also got recommendation from Sadar Kudam, Nigeria as well. So, but regardless, if you get it from the respected AMSA, it covers all. And I've had for some brothers who visited other countries, probably not even for full japa, maybe they want to visit and come back. We've had reasons to speak to respected AMSA. The person would write to respected AMSA, and then he would give him a letter of recommendation. They would talk to the Tebshir and blah, blah, and get you sorted. So this is very important that we do not get disconnected from the Jamaat. And lastly, on Japa itself, I think one thing that's very important for everything one wants to do in life is to do SWOT analysis. That is just physically, but everyone understands what SWOT is. You look at your strengths, your weakness, and whatever you want to do. You look at opportunities wherever you want to go, and of course, I've forgotten the T. Can you remind me? Sorry, threat. Thank you.
Your strength, your weakness.
Threat. So threat within the source of what you actually want to, what you aspire to get. So you can look at it. If I stay, what are the opportunities I have? If I go, what are the opportunities I have? If I look at my weakness, many of us have spoken about possibility of getting a corporate job over there. Do you have the skills? If you are weak at that, can you get the strength? Can you get the skills? Can you learn certain things you need abroad? And most times we look at corporate work, not limited to that. Some jobs are also menial jobs in the look of things, but they are, if it's about making money, it's also very important. Some skills like learning electrical work, learning barbing, welding, stuff like that. Some of them are making money because these are essential things that people need in human life. There is no way you will find 10 people and 8 of them will say, I want to keep my hair. At least 5% of them, 50% of them will want to barb their hair as well. Then you can make your money from there. So with anything learnable, please learn it. And don't say it's only about tech, it's only about medicine, it's only about corporate affairs. No, any skill at all, any knowledge at all. But let me say that I don't want all of you to jump out. If all of you jump out now, how do I feel as a father? Please, so, but my prayer that I will round up with is that I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be with us wherever we are. That I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be with us anytime, anywhere we are, inshallah Aziz. So it is not compulsory that people japa. Yes, it is not compulsory. And if it is in the Qadar, if you try, you get it. If it's not in the Qadar, even if you try, you won't get it. I tried a lot. I tried US for studentship between 2016 and 2018. Olule, Meteta Lule Dano. The first attempt was Canada that I mentioned. Ono Lule. So since that time, I've stayed back to say, okay, maybe Allah has a reason. Even Allah has reasons, and I thank Allah for that. This is not time for me to contribute because I'm not a panelist anyway, but I just want to have these few comments with us. And I sincerely enjoy every session, even though I'm very busy at work using my remote access to do my office work, but I'm listening by the side. And I want to thank you all and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let us be at the right place, at the right time, at all times. Please join me in prayer. Surah Al-Fatiha wa Darud. Ameen. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum.